All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Sarabjit Kaur and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair an all-party meeting this morning to put forth the government's legislative agenda for budget session of Parliament. India's GDP to grow at 11% next fiscal as it makes V-shaped recovery. Supreme Court panel holds talks with 17 farmer organizations from 11 states over centre's farm laws. Centre asks states to initiate COVID-19 vaccination of frontline workers from first week of February. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and his US counterpart discuss ways to strengthen ties between the two countries. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair an all-party meeting today to put forth the government's legislative agenda for the budget session of Parliament. The meeting will start at 11:30 a.m. through video conferencing. The centre has invited all political parties from both the houses to attend this meeting. This time, the customary all-party meeting is being held after the beginning of the session. The budget session began yesterday with President Ramnath Kovind addressing the joint sitting of the both houses. Usually, such all-party meetings are held ahead of the parliamentary sessions to ensure smooth functioning of both houses. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla hosted an all-party meeting of the floor leaders of various parties yesterday and sought their cooperation for smooth functioning of the lower house. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has also called a meeting of leaders of all parties in the upper house tomorrow. Amid the coronavirus pandemic, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha are meeting in shifts of 5 hours each to ensure distancing norms. While our Rajya Sabha will meet in the morning, Lok Sabha will meet in the second half of the day. Prime Minister has said that this decade is very important for India's bright future and it should be fully utilized. Speaking to the media at the commencement of the budget session, Mr. Modi said there should be discussions in this session related to this decade, which is expected by the nation.
इस दशक का पहला सत्र प्रारंभ हो रहा है। भारत के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए ये दशक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और इसलिए प्रारंभ से ही आजादी के दीवानों ने जो सपने देखे थे, उन सपनों को, उन संकल्पों को तेज गति से सिद्ध करने का ये स्वर्णिम अवसर अब देश के पास आया है। इस दशक का भरपूर उपयोग हो और इसलिए इस सत्र में इस पूरे दशक को ध्यान में रखते हुए चर्चाएं हो, सभी प्रकार के विचारों की प्रस्तुति हो और उत्तम मंथन से उत्तम अमृत प्राप्त हो, ये देश की अपेक्षाएं हैं।
Mr. Modi said this year's budget will be seen as a part of those 4 to 5 mini budgets which were presented in the form of different packages by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the last year. He said this is for the first time in Indian history that Finance Minister had to present 4 to 5 mini budgets.
भारत के इतिहास में पहली बार हुआ कि 2020 में एक नहीं, हमें वित्त मंत्री जी को अलग अलग पैकेज के रूप में एक प्रकार से 4-5 मिनी बजट देने पड़े। यानी 2020 एक प्रकार से लगातार मिनी बजट का सिलसिला चलता रहा और इसलिए ये बजट भी उन 4-5 बजट की श्रृंखला में ही देखा जाएगा, ये मुझे पूरा विश्वास है।
The Prime Minister expressed confidence and hope that all the parliamentarians will fulfill the aspirations of the people by following all the limitations of democracy.
The government has said that the country is witnessing a V-shaped economic recovery, which is a testimony to the resilience and intrinsic strength of its economy. It happened due to the mega vaccination drive, robust recovery in the services sector, and robust growth in consumption and investment. The economic survey tabled in the Parliament projects India's real GDP to record 11% growth in financial year 2021-22, a nominal GDP to grow by 15.4%, the highest since independence. Speaking to reporters in New Delhi, Chief Economic Advisor K. Subramanian said V-shaped recovery is due to the resurgence in high-frequency indicators such as power demand, rail freight, e-way bills, GST collection and steel consumption. He said during high uncertainty, policy should minimize large losses. The CEA said early intense lockdown saved lives and helped faster recovery.
India focused on saving lives and livelihoods, took short-term pain for long-term gain, recognized that while GDP growth will recover, and it has, lost human lives cannot be brought back. This was the humane principle that guided India's policy response. India was the only country to announce a slew of structural reforms. India's demand-side measures were also different from the other countries, were more calibrated, recognizing the simple idea that pushing the accelerator, works only when the brakes are removed. The V-shaped economic recovery, without a second wave makes India therefore a sui generis case in mature policy making. The mega vaccination drive that is now on should enable this recovery, especially in the services sector.
Mr. Subramanian said, hence, India announced discretionary measures in unlock phase as part of Atmanirbhar Bharat package. Illustrating that India's debt is sustainable, Mr. Subramanian noted that even if India were to have the real GDP growth rate as low as 3.8% each year from financial year 2023 to financial year 2029, the debts will still come down. He said India has a track record of having adopted expansionary fiscal policy focused on infrastructure spending, and there is a need to replicate the same. The economic survey highlights the potential of public investment, especially in a slowdown. It called for fiscal policy to support growth and stressed the need for rethink in fiscal rules. The Chief Economic Advisor said India must continue to focus on growth so that we expand the pie, enabling redistributive policies that lift people out of poverty. He said small levels of increase in public spending on healthcare can have a non-linear impact and result in a very large decrease in out-of-pocket expenditure by typical families on healthcare. The CEA said economic survey shows Ayushman Bharat has led to improved health outcomes, saving lives and livelihoods and resulting in various direct and spillover effects. India is to become the fastest growing economy in the next 2 years as per the International Monetary Fund. India is to have a current account surplus of 2% of GDP in financial year 2021, a historic high after 17 years. As the day for the presentation of Union Budget 2021 is approaching closer, common people have got some expectations from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman from her third annual budget. In financial capital Mumbai, AIR correspondents spoke to various individuals, including doctors, tax consultants, housewives and common man, about their expectations and recommendations for the Union Budget 2021. Senior homeopathic doctor Praful Barvelia has stressed upon more fund allocation to homeopathy and special attention in mental health and disability sector.
Homeopathy has played great role in this pandemic. This budget should provide more fund allocation to homeopathy. Union government should pay attention to mental health problems and disability sector. This pandemic has brought out multifold increase in mental health issues, improve insurance schemes for the disabled.
Tax consultant Harsha Jain highlighted the need for changing income tax exemption rules for different income slabs.
I would like to give my suggestion to Honorable Madam Finance Minister that either don't give exemption to any income slab or keep the exempted income at the lowest possible, and also keep the tax rate same at the lowest, that is 5 to 10%, and same for all the income slabs. This will help in two ways. People will not try to keep their income below the taxable slab, and the higher income group people will not hesitate to show their maximum income, as the tax rate would be same for all slabs. This will earn more tax revenue for the country.
Housewife Krishnali Sangrajika expects the cost of quality education and fuel prices to come down.
We as a households are caught because of our inability to earn income, but no one credits us for savings. Today, the biggest expense for our household is the school fees and children's education. My advice is please announce some schemes which can result in a reduction in the cost of quality education. My second point is there is a lot of hike in a petrol and diesel price. I would like to suggest that keep GST on petrol and diesel so that the price can be reduced. My third point is please give more subsidy to women in income tax by reducing some percentage. My fourth point is women should also get subsidy in two-wheelers and four-wheelers so that government should announce some schemes for low income people.
Common man Prakash Vadkar expects some scheme from this budget for more employment generation.
देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को बढ़ावा देने के लिए रोजगार का निर्माण अनिवार्य है। एक दूसरे पर निर्भर कारोबार को अगर बढ़ावा मिलेगा तो निश्चित रूप से रोजगार निर्माण का एक बड़ा अभियान चलेगा और लोगों की खरीदारी की क्षमता बढ़ जाएगी। अर्थव्यवस्था को चालना यही इस बजट का उद्देश्य होना चाहिए।
Supreme Court appointed panel held talks with 17 farmer organizations over centre's farm laws. Farmer unions from 11 states and union territories participated in the deliberations with the three-member committee yesterday. The organizations from Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh gave their frank views and detailed suggestions on the farm laws. The committee comprises agricultural economists Ashok Gulati and Dr. Pramod Joshi and Shetkari Sangathan President Anil Ghanawat. The Ethics Court held on January 12 set up the committee to give a report to the court on the farm laws following consultations with all stakeholders. Supreme Court had also stayed the implementation of the three farm laws. Social activist Anna Hazare has decided to call off his proposed hunger strike from today. Maharashtra's former Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and Union Minister Kailash Chaudhary had requested Anna Hazare to call off the protest. Mr. Fadnavis said that a committee of Union Agriculture Minister, Niti Aayog member and Anna Hazare has been formed. It will discuss various issues of farmers and try to resolve them.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has had a telephonic conversation with the U.S. Secretary of State Antony J. Blinken. Dr. Jaishankar warmly congratulated Secretary Blinken on his appointment and wished him success in his new responsibilities. Both the leaders expressed their commitment to consolidate and expand the multifaceted strategic partnership. They appreciated the robust defense and security ties, growing economic engagement, productive healthcare collaboration, and strong people-to-people linkages as its important pillars. Recognizing the challenges of a post-COVID world, they agreed to work together to address the global issues, including safe and affordable vaccine supply. They also reiterated their commitment to peace and security, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke to Israeli Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi yesterday evening about the explosion outside the Israeli embassy. In a tweet, Mr. Jaishankar said, "We take this very seriously." He assured his Israeli counterpart of the fullest protection for the embassy and Israeli diplomats. The External Affairs Minister said the matter is under investigation and no effort will be spared to find the culprits. Sources said Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla spoke to his Israeli counterpart Ambassador Alon Ushpiz. Secretary Consular Passport and Visa CPV Division in the ministry also spoke to Ambassador of Israel in India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Chori Chaura Centenary celebrations virtually on 4th of February in Uttar Pradesh. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's office has tweeted that the Prime Minister will also release a postal stamp dedicated to the centenary year of the Chori Chaura incident. The families of martyrs and freedom fighters will also join celebrations for the historical event that took place on 4th February 1922. Uttar Pradesh government has announced to celebrate the centenary year of the historical event in a grand manner. The statewide celebration will begin from 4th February and will go on for a year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the 125th anniversary celebrations of Prabuddha Bharata at 3:15 p.m. tomorrow. The event is being organized by Advait Ashram situated at Mayavati Ashram in Uttarakhand. Prabuddha Bharata is a monthly journal of the Ramakrishna Order. It was started by Swami Vivekanand in 1896. The journal Prabuddha Bharata has been an important medium for spreading the message of India's ancient spiritual wisdom. Its publication was started from Chennai, erstwhile Madras, where it continued to be published for 2 years, after which it was published from Almora. Later, in April 1899, the place of publication of the journal was shifted to Advait Ashram, and it has been continuously published from there since then.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair an all-party meeting this morning to put forth the government's legislative agenda for budget session of Parliament. India's GDP to grow at 11% next fiscal as it makes V-shaped recovery. Supreme Court panel holds talks with 17 farmer organizations from 11 states over centre's farm laws. Centre asks states to initiate COVID-19 vaccination of frontline workers from the first week of February. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and his U.S. counterpart discuss ways to strengthen ties between the two countries. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The Union Health Ministry has asked all states and union territories to initiate vaccination of frontline workers against COVID-19 from the first week of February. Vaccination of healthcare providers that began on January 16 to continue simultaneously, the ministry said in a letter to states and union territories. In the letter, Health Ministry Additional Secretary Manohar Agnani said the database of frontline workers is being updated by the states and union territories in collaboration with the respective line ministries. As on date, the database of more than 61 lakh frontline workers has been uploaded on CoWIN portal. A pan-India COVID-19 vaccination drive initiated on January 16 aims to cover healthcare and frontline workers in the initial phase. The letter mentions that the required doses of both vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, have been allocated to the states and UTs, and further augmentation will be made through subsequent releases. The states and UTs should ensure that sessions must be created for both type of vaccines in proportion to the release of vaccines to the state wherever applicable, the letter stated. India has seen a significant hike in the number of healthcare workers getting vaccinated against COVID-19 under the countrywide COVID vaccination program. The cumulative number of healthcare workers who have been administered the COVID-19 vaccine has crossed 33 lakh yesterday. The Health Ministry said till 7 p.m. a total of 33,68,734 beneficiaries were vaccinated through 62,939 sessions. Total 10,061 sessions were held yesterday. On the 14th day of nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive yesterday, 4,40,681 beneficiaries were vaccinated.
Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain, Salman bin Hamad, has thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the people of India for working to secure the delivery of the Oxford AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine. The court of the Crown Prince said it is a sign of India's global generosity and the strong partnership enjoyed between the two nations. Replying on Twitter, Prime Minister's offices thanked Crown Prince and Prime Minister Salman bin Hamad. It said India is proud to partner Bahrain in fighting COVID-19 and both will continue to strengthen the long-standing civilizational ties. In Bihar, COVID-19 vaccination drive will now be carried out on all 7 days a week, depending on the requirement of each district. Health Minister Mangal Pandey said the number of session sites will be increased to nearly 500 from the existing 300 per day. He said the health department is now targeting to vaccinate 50,000 healthcare and frontline workers every day. 1,06,025 people have been vaccinated in the state so far. 5,62,000 health workers have registered for vaccination. Meanwhile, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 98.92%. 2,57,669 patients have so far recovered from COVID-19 infection in Bihar. The number of active cases of COVID-19 is continuously declining. Currently, 1,315 patients are receiving treatment at various hospitals. In all, 278 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours, while 121 new COVID-19 cases have been reported. No positive case was reported from 11 districts from the state.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has ordered completion of COVID vaccination of health workers by 5th February in the state. After that, the vaccination of frontline workers will start. Yesterday, Uttar Pradesh conducted highest number of vaccination in the country. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
Yesterday, more than 1,68,000 health workers were vaccinated, which was 75% of the target. The vaccination drive was conducted at 2,076 centers. The state government has fixed 2 days, Thursday and Friday of the week, for the vaccination, and in last 2 days, more than 2,94,000 health workers got vaccine. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has asked officials to complete the vaccination of the health workers by 5th February. Vaccination drive for frontline workers in state will also start from 5th February. Government has set the deadline of 25th March 2021 for the completion of both rounds of vaccination of health workers as well as frontline workers. From 25th March, vaccines will be given to the people over 50 years of age. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Gujarat, total 2,12,737 persons have been vaccinated against the COVID-19 till now. The state has already covered nearly 62% of the total healthcare workers under the vaccination drive. More details from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
According to the State Health Department, 56,935 persons were vaccinated in Gujarat on Friday. With this, 2,12,737 persons have received COVID-19 vaccine against the target of 3,44,000 healthcare workers. The vaccination drive is being carried out at more than 1,200 vaccination centers across the state. Meanwhile, the state has recorded 335 new cases of COVID-19 during the last 24 hours. 463 patients discharged from the hospitals after recovery. Recovery rate has reached up to 96.94%. 77 new cases reported from Ahmedabad, while Vadodara recorded 89 new cases. At present, total active cases in the state are 3,589, out of which 42 patients are on ventilator. One patient died yesterday, taking the total deaths due to COVID-19 up to 4,385. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Madhya Pradesh has achieved 59% of the target set for the day yesterday. COVID vaccination is being done smoothly in the state. More details from our Bhopal correspondent.
In Madhya Pradesh, over 2,46,000 people were vaccinated so far across the state, out of which 50,994 people were vaccinated yesterday. Highest vaccination reported at Mandla, Dindori and Alirajpur districts with 100% vaccination each, followed by Shajapur with 99% and Bhind with 97%. State capital Bhopal reported 3,503 vaccinations, which was 46% of the target. Meanwhile, mop-up sessions would be conducted on February 3rd for healthcare workers who missed the vaccination in the first round. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Chhattisgarh's COVID recovery rate has reached almost 97%, with a recovery of more than 455 patients during the past 24 hours. A report from our Raipur correspondent.
In Chhattisgarh, a total of 370 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to about 305,000. Almost 297,000 people affected with COVID-19 have been cured so far in the state. In the last 24 hours, 455 people have recovered and 4 deaths were reported in the state, taking the toll to 3,689. At present, the total number of active cases in Chhattisgarh is 4,358. The number of active cases of COVID-19 is on a steady decline. Meanwhile, total of over 62,000 health workers have been administered COVID-19 vaccine in Chhattisgarh so far. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
The nation pays homage to Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 73rd death anniversary today. The day is also observed as Martyrs' Day. He was assassinated on this day in 1948. An inter-religious prayer is organized on the occasion at Rajghat every year, where President, Vice President and Prime Minister lay wreaths at Bapu's Samadhi. The nation will also observe a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. in remembrance of those who sacrificed in country's independence. President Ramnath Kovind today paid tributes to Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who embraced martyrdom this day. In his message, President Kovind said, people should adhere to his ideals of peace, non-violence, simplicity, purity of means and humility. He asked everyone to resolve to follow his path of truth and love. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also paid tribute to Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his death anniversary. In his message, Mr. Naidu said, Gandhiji was a crusader of peace, non-violence and selfless service. He said Gandhiji both left an indelible print on the sands of time through his words and action.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah's visit to West Bengal has been cancelled. He was scheduled to arrive in Kolkata last night. In a statement, BJP state unit said that due to unavoidable circumstances, Mr. Shah's all scheduled programs for today have been cancelled. Mr. Shah was scheduled to address 2 rallies and participate in a series of programs over this weekend during his 2-day visit to the state. And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi experienced haze in the morning. The temperatures will hover between 4 and 20 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear skies. The minimum temperature will be around 14 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 30 degrees. Chennai witnessed mist in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The temperatures will vary between 26 and 31 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, there was mist in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The city observed a minimum of around 14 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 25 degrees. In Srinagar, there will be partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or in the night. The temperatures will hover between -8 and 4 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, the minimum temperature was around 6 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 20 degrees. Leh had a minimum temperature of -15 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 6 degrees. In Gilgit, the temperatures will hover between -6 and 12 degrees Celsius, while in Muzaffarabad, the temperatures will hover between 4 and 18 degrees Celsius. In Guwahati, there will be generally cloudy sky. The temperatures will be around 11 degrees, while the maximum will be around 23 degrees.
And now, an overview of today's newspapers. With the budget session of Parliament beginning yesterday, the Business Standard leads with Economic Survey 2020-2021. Survey says India's COVID policy uniquely successful, V-shaped recovery faster than expected, permanent stimulus call. Newspapers today also take a note of President's address to the joint sitting of Parliament. Kovind defends new farm laws, slams Republic Day violence, writes a statesman. In Delhi, after classes 10 and 12, it's time now for classes 9 and 11. Quoting the Deputy Chief Minister, the Hindustan Times writes, Class 9-11 students can return to school from February 5, Sisodia. With no respite from the chill weather, cold wave grips capital, relief likely the next 2 days, writes the Times of India. And finally, the Hindu carries a picture of the beating retreat event at Vijay Chowk. Republic Day celebrations in Delhi come to a close.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair an all-party meeting this morning to put forth the government's legislative agenda for budget session of Parliament. India's GDP to grow at 11% next fiscal as it makes V-shaped recovery. Supreme Court panel holds talks with 17 farmer organizations from 11 states over centre's farm laws. Centre asks states to initiate COVID-19 vaccination of frontline workers from first week of February. And External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and his US counterpart discuss ways to strengthen ties between the two countries. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.